다 오늘 당한 참지 쉬야디 디브루 주마송 제전디인데 뭐래야 당하라죠 로 페이지다 로직 슈를 다다르 투비아래 현재의 중원이 nen다시라 가부죠 한 사모로 참지 저스들의 쉬야인스
So up to now it was not possible to give my greetings to you. So first of all, I'd like to say that after 1 year, around 1 year I'm back here. It's precisely 1 year after I'm back here. And I'm very happy to be here to meet you all once again. So first of all, I'd like to give you all my greetings and my tashdilas.
아니 다시 타와도 간절무지 아니 제በት 그보다 아주디 가지피게 수실에 추시 제브레 다들이데 톨로지 제주원데 에시라 가부죠
Especially, I'm extremely happy that I met Kyabje Rinpoche with more time. A few days ago we met very briefly in Switzerland, and now we could meet with more time. This makes me especially happy.
어디래 해마시들이 아데 두주 망부도 잡는데 당 알아줘 달라로 붙은지 셀레메데베체 도시 이바인도 해까지 존의 추스시 여러 시스템 rum징이 그지 숨버리 테마 지금만에 테마 가시도 전에 샤바나도 송구도 제자대 인도 애들이 두주 튼두지르데 이내 rum징 공부도 튼버체제 엔수자야 그다 좀진디 조종 알아줘 라로 붙은지디 엔자와 답뷰타고 SLM에다가 오고벨에메다가 배뷰타고 유대 딩에 에다 델 알아주다 데르고 가서 우리 개침부지 쓰이제 애들이 자고 그 좀좀 쏘듯이
So this time in Europe I'm making a very short visit. So there's not much time to be here, but as Kyabje Rinpoche made many times the request for me to come here, and not one or twice, but many other times by telephone and so on. And so at this time, as I came to Europe, even though it's a short trip, I came here, even for a very short visit, but mainly because of the pure commitment, the pure samaya that is between guru and disciple. So this pure commitment, this pure samaya without any sort of impurities, is something that is very important, and it's based on this pure commitment that I have come back here this time.
어도지 다들이 현재지 저러지도 송으리 nen데 그지 도지선벽거데 음식이 아니니 계지지 중으리 그지 인디아나 투벽도 계지지 중 해다 디네르 제데네 가지르 무진기 리지 송셰 아까다 들이 도지선벽 이제나 표야진다디 제시도 무슨 디스 중요히 버리다
So at this time, as I was coming here, Kyabje Rinpoche requested me please to give some Dharma transmission. And also when Lama Michel was in Indiana, we had a talk together, and then we talked about giving the transmission of the practice of Vajrasattva. So putting these two things together, at this time I decided to give this empowerment today.
어도지 다 얘네들이 다 두주시라 시부시부 까먹어지 다 간다 소소 제나데 고순 투순 제나들부 자자데 인도데 제나데 다고 시부 제부 먹어지 간다고 고 대부 유대부 어디 드리징안에 표주시들이
So today the empowerment, I'm not going to make it very long. Mainly is the empowerment of body, speech and mind. So in an easy way to understand and going through the main part in an easy way to understand, I'm going to offer to you this empowerment of Vajrasattva.
어두스리다. 되는 다 도지선배기 제나 주베 qab려야. 그래. 제나 주베 qab려야 다 오늘 굴론디 하고 그래. 아 굴론 넘버 다 보체. 아 굴론 지금 셴뱅기 셈 지심베토네. 안 생규인 바래.
So in the moment of receiving such empowerment of Vajrasattva, it is very important to have a good motivation. So by generating a motivation that you receive such empowerment for the benefit of others, with such motivation, please receive this empowerment.
어딘지. 당 알아서 담배 취 지겨래. 대 나라네. 택진의 태면이게 나라네. 태고 준비 취 지겨래. 전주기 샘세야데. 아니 계속 무시부지 지제. 나다 전주기 샘디 매도 미로 인데버디 알아주다. 택진 태고 준비 취 지게기 공수 담비는 다디 켈링이어래. 대인버래. 그래서 뒤인도 다 최대 알아주 태고 준비 취선 줘도지. 용알라. 아니 카즌 측정 많이 봐. 배 태고 준비 취선 줘도지 용알라. 당부 꿀론도 야부고 그래. 꿀론 대양 태고 준비 취기 공수 도대버지. 간다 뒤초를 초도 비게 예대베기. 아니 지 시안의 펜베 삼다야. 랑의 시엔 제버진베 삼다야. 어디다 개좀 이번에. 드리지 뭐 시드마스는 예배 타네. 아니 대강이야. 아니 태고 준비 취디 냠술련 투비는 아니 지 부타고. 원로도 무시 튠베인데 봐. 아 드리지 용거야를. 대용에 타네. 양 알아서 쉬어 간지 제베이네. 지금 다루 로트야. 취 제베디 랑게 셈르 펜토트야. 다든지 용하면 용거래. 제자디 인도 알아서 조조디 취 비용 거 조베 커도라. 안 삼단단다. 삼단단 패키지는 삼단단이 취지기 돈 셰인도 꿀론신 셰 용거래. 어디 임버다.
So as we are practitioners of Buddhism, from within Buddhism there is the Hinayana and the Mahayana vehicles. We are followers of the Mahayana. So as we are followers of the Mahayana, the special quality within the Mahayana is the mind of enlightenment or bodhicitta. It is the most important quality that we need to develop in order to enter into the Mahayana path. So in this, it is very important to generate such mind. And in order for the bodhicitta not to be just something, out of words, but actually to develop such actual mind, it is very important to think about the benefit of others. It is important in this way to cherish others. As we cherish ourselves, we need to cherish others more than cherishing our own selves in this way, and really think of the benefit of others. With such generation of such mind, then we can develop the intention to reach enlightenment for the benefit of others. With this, we can generate the actual mind of enlightenment, the actual bodhicitta. And this is something that in the Mahayana path is essential, without which actually is not possible to realize the Mahayana path. So as we are followers of the Mahayana, not only by name, but we also should do it by actual deed, by actual fact. So this is coming by the fact of generating such pure motivation. So at this point, if we speak in an ordinary way, we say that we need to think in that way, we need to generate these thoughts of receiving such empowerment and acting for the benefit of others. And if we use for a more dharma term, more religious term, we say we need to generate the correct motivation of bodhicitta, which is it is fundamental to have at this moment, in order also so that for the preparation and the actual empowerment, all of it to follow in the same path. Also, that's important to generate this pure motivation at the beginning.
어두스리다. 어다든지 인도다. 간달 비게시 가지고르다. 자주그 샘피게 깨버 셔발라. 아니 당신 냠지기. 다 지담이 마시 진전 소바디 고메 요르데. 이네 커도 그 당신 냠지 고메 커도네. 펜도 후시라 유대. 다다 샘피게 냠바 인데버디. 삼루피게 가로지 땅나. 아니 양지 소와지 샘게 나로 구조태야지 용도가. 파조데다 소수니 직 돼야지 집은 돼대봐. 동해 민도be 집은 인데봐. 대원도be 집은 인데봐. 아니 배 차단 모습이 나와 집은 인데봐. 어다든지 삼단인도 아니 라신기 시안르피게 소소그 뭐네. 아니 직 줄람대야. 직 뒤준다 민도be 때지 개발주로도. 시안르이네 직 인증지피게 단인증지배 좀 많이 뭐 시부지피게 남산 깨그리슬랍나다. 대스랑 한번 체크르데 이내야 지금 인지디 게 지금 용도가 샘게 나로를 믹스해기 지금 샘게 나로리야 시행강에 체베 커도다 미수베지 깨야지 요하지 시행 동해게 나로 홍도도 미수베 깨야지 시행피게 지금 대회 남는 로트베이는 야 란싱기 지금 시부축 전부면에 야 커도 대스 지금 제수이나 세네를 가와고면을 써봤던 줄이디 용대야 디 용도가 그래서 디 인도 당신 냠지 세야디 당부 피게 제월이야 냠바디 피게 야고주 삼단투는 되게 망부지 편도야지 알아주 시가 있는 상으로야 소수 피게 지 삼단다 이네 기부준도야 셰헬 피게 소수기 왠지 레르 피게 지 가수그래 남주던다 이네리 셰헬 피게 저와치단데 이네 야루도야 샘진이야 지 소송 엄마싱님 지 샘진지래 이네 양 알아주고 지단디야 야루도야 쫄람데 야루도야 밤에 그 저번 요루도야 다디라싱 차도 저저 대수피게 삼단도는 야구이 말해.
So in order to generate the bodhicitta, generally speaking, there are different ways to do that, such as the 7 causes and results, by recognizing all sentient beings as one's own mother and so on, and equalizing and exchanging oneself with others. So, but at this moment, we follow the way of equalizing and exchanging oneself with others. This is a very powerful method to generate bodhicitta. So when we talk about equalizing oneself and exchanging oneself with others, first we need to develop equanimity. So to equalize oneself with others, the first step is that by understanding that there is no difference between ourselves and others. Both ourselves and each and every other sentient being, we all suffer. We do not wish even the slightest forms of suffering. At the same time, we all wish to be happy and are not satisfied with whatever happiness we do have. So in this same way, both ourselves and all sentient beings, we're also driven by our mental defilements, such as ignorance, hatred, and attachment. So actually, if we truly look, there is not much difference between ourselves and other sentient beings. So in the moment that we are able to see this clearly, naturally, this makes us to generate some more empathy for other sentient beings. As we see the suffering of other sentient beings, naturally we develop the wish for them to be free from suffering. It would be maybe a bit too much to say that by generating such way of equality, right away we develop a total form of compassion for all sentient beings. But when we see the suffering in others and we recognize that they are same as us, naturally we develop some sort of compassion. Naturally we develop the wish for them not to be in such state of suffering. We develop the wish for them to be free from suffering. In the same way, when we connect to other beings and we see them in a state of well-being, we rejoice of it. This is something that comes in a natural and spontaneous way. So by that, if we're able actually truly to develop, first of all, this equanimity in which we understand that there is no difference between ourselves and others, and gradually from that we open our heart, our mind, in order to wish every sentient being to be free from suffering and to remain in the state of happiness. Through that, this will gradually let our mind to develop the state of actual bodhicitta. And this will also help ourselves, also in a way to have oneself, one's own mind to be more peaceful. In the same way, it helps oneself also to have a better conduct and a better way of relating with other people. And in the same way also, it will help you also to be more happy and to relate in a better way with others. So this is something that is important that you need to remember and do.
어두 심벌에 자자디 인도 아주 지단 당용 셈제야디 하데 랑조를 차고 현조를 당와 세야기 셈디 비게 바 르니 아니 당용 세야기 셈디 다 깨고요래 하다 대로 비게 깨버 제발이야 비게 다다 현세야디 냠바임바디 삼려야 오지 딩월 마단 아니 그 랑조를 차고도 현조를 당외 삼르디 바 쉬워셔야 돼 가고 싶으시 간신은 랑조를 차고야 돼 간신은 소수 삼단단지 추베 원기 해식 삼단단디 다즉 소수다 저와 유댕에 소수를 비게 지기다 가댕에스네리 소수를 비게 소수 파 가데세이네리 가다 딘릭 저와 유데즈데리아 소와 유베 소지 삼지고 소수든 저와 매데베드는 즉 소와 유메 개바스야 매데베 소로 아니 하고도 소수지 막아서 유대세 미이네를 심진대로 그냥 초원 매데베 소지베 다가람베 소수 타지베 소지지 삼든데 비게 추베 다 추시에 소지지 딘데지 비게 레용 딜레용도 아니 즉 소수 그 초도들 비게 야구장장 해야지 돼 소수 초도 매딩에 되게 비게 안 두고 제하로 야는 남의 땅으로 야는 비게 즉 간뇌야 내가 제할 쏘고 어디 짠냐 삼고 거제 에디 나로라 and ko mizin zondraji di kyanyang ko rajibji mizin zondraji cha yundu and sen dile magiba sen dile ko yang gibu yone nizu khaga jigre dindes laga dindeji chene le dindeji chene gibu raji yungu dona ko mizichi gibu yone yombarda dribre ko dindeji yungu dus lab chogru di yomare gibu du khane lagwa chene semdin gibu yomare laga dindeji chedudu 다나신 새 침을리네 디기 달래 dindeji cheba 디기 드불 때네 아니 새 침을딜래 야구 좀 마요 봐 친주딜래 야구 마요 봐 아니 간다르 고 미지디레 dindeji 가려야 단 조주 주지 뭐 인도 당 알아서 dindeji를 비해 만루비젠 랑가 dindeji를 만루비젠 딜래 다 자가지 랑가지 다 담고요 하래 디 담고야 좀 제대 가르센 아주 로리 투나로네 다 미류된디 학벌도 아주 미류된디 담배 취해 비게 제통에 아주 비게 저기 삼단나 땅주 유에딩에 어디 dindeji기 고 류된지 이 말이에요. 제가 뒤인도 류된 캐버진지리 캐버진 인데비딩 아주 시작을 초라마담 부제네 아니 고 단지도 양주 렌투는 배주 상부질 단투는 야구여로 스티 삼당 그래.
So when talking about generating equanimity, this is something effectively very important. The equanimity in which we make no difference, to which how the way of having attraction or aversion towards others. The normal way how we act normally is that of actually having attraction to the dear ones, and then we have aversion to others, and especially we can have aversion to those that we may call like attraction to our friends and aversion to our enemies. And if we think clearly about that, it is not something so simple actually to generate, in the sense that normally when we think about the people that are more near to us, or that are friends or family, people that are more connected to us, naturally we have some sort of attraction to these people. This is something that comes very natural. Then when we think about other people, we have no actually real much feeling to them. It's just like some sort of indifference most of the times. Or in some cases, when we have more difficulty to other people, so-called enemies, we also not only we have no feeling towards them, sometimes we also have strong aversion and so on. So actually, truly, to generate this mind in which we make no more differences in the way that we have no specific attraction to those that are near to us and no specific aversion to those that are indifferent or far away from us. This is something very important for us to generate. Also because by the fact of living in this way, that we are always constantly with attraction and attachment towards those that are our so-called friends and family and so on, and aversion towards others, this is something that we get lost through it. We pass the whole part of our life just being busy with this aspect of attraction and aversion, and our whole life goes by with it. Our whole life we waste our whole life in this way. So instead, it's very important for us to understand that actually we have a very precious human rebirth. And within this human rebirth, in which we actually have the ability of understanding and discernment. It's very precious, this human rebirth, because it gives us the ability of such discernment and understanding. So we need to use it in a very positive way, and we need to use it in a way that is beneficial for us, such as eliminating the search forms of difference between the dear ones and others and so on. Also because if making such difference between having attraction towards those that are near and aversion towards others, if this would actually gives us any sort of real happiness, then it's okay, then it's fine, But the fact is that by acting in this way, by acting in this way within ourselves, it's actually just generating more and more suffering to ourselves and creating more conflict with others. So actually it is of no any benefit, both for this life and for what comes after this life, for the end of this life and for what comes after this life. So as this type of attitude of making such difference between friends and enemies and so on, and having attraction and aversion towards them, as this is actually not only not creating benefit, but is creating a lot of harm to ourselves, both in this life and in future life, this is something that we need to abandon. And we abandon that by generating equanimity. And in this way is the way how we can actually make this precious human life meaningful, also by generating such equanimity.
어디지? 제가 대인도 당 알아줘. 다 들고 가수지. 단이 다 근거 세네 소소지. 다니 다기 차 세야디야 소수리 그래서 디 인도 디 시험을 전에 다 소수비게 약을 지다 아 거기 톱저디 배 다지 상보지 톰도 유는 다른 인행 아주 비게 될래야 상의 쇼들은 배주 최고하다 아주 소수랑 최고리 아주 낭비에 된 학벌도 지금 다 대부분 가수그리 미지 이내를 즉 현진이야 아니 나야 트로징아 마마다로 치스 근데 믹스자 켈링 말 그래 낭배추 조조데 랑기 셈 되고 그래 젠 다자도 몇 디수요래 랑기 셈 되는 라야 전대윤 랑기 셈 뒤투베이는 라야 로도 그래 셴이야 디제고 말이 소소 랑기 피게 즉 최대냠네 야부지 셴은 야 로도 그래 dim마도 야 트로지 망에 손을 마다로 치스제네 술 쉬네 소소랑기 녀손을 마르야 내가 잔자체는 탑시시라자 요말 탑시시야 요말 저서 뒤인도 딘데 맨데비지 되도 셴베터네 소소랑기 셈두야 탑시시 미지철 게네 거지 로망부 링갈이야 최냠시시 디제네 아니 쇼데나 간다 셈두 투부지 어디 디토는 배주쳐오래 미지베 로주다망부 쳐르게 아니 디슈데르 셈두 모두비젠 방부시라리 셈 교부리 방부리 어디 딘데 차그리 그래서 디인도 딘데 멤버지 간다 셈 뒤투야는 배주 체투야 자 탑시 조르치고리 디 셈링에 부리
So, as it is said, we are our own protectors, we are our own enemies. So, this means that actually, whatever good happens to us, it depends on our own selves. Whatever bad things happen to us, it depends on our own selves, it depends on our own actions. So, in this way, actually, as we follow the teachings of Buddha, within that, it's not possible to make requests like such as, oh, please take me towards whatever greater realization, please protect me so I cannot fall into the lower realms of existence, of suffering, and so on. You know, we can make such requests to whomever, but even though you may have all the blessings and love from whatever holy beings and great masters, if yourself, if you create the causes to have great suffering and to have lower rebirths, no one can protect yourself from that other than yourself. In the same way, if you want to have higher results and positive rebirth and so on, it depends mainly on your own actions. It depends mainly on your own way of being. And what do we mean by that, basically? It is actually the importance to subdue one's own mind. That's the important thing, to shape and to subdue one's own mind. If you're not able to direct and to shape and to subdue your own mind, then it can be very sad, like maybe you are following the teachings of the Dharma for 10, 20 years, whatever time, and if your mind is just the same and you're not able to change your own inner behavior and your mental attitude and you are not able to shape and to subdue your mind, that's quite sad actually, the fact that you are not able to do that in that way, because the main objective that we have here, it is that actually of shaping one's own mind, of actually subduing one's own mind in this way. That's the most important aspect that we have here.
어두스리 제자들이 인도 다 조조데 최 퇴바 잠경 알아줘 네 뒤준이 셰디기 최 퇴바 잠기 드금도 삼당고도 삼단세야디 폐게전 셴 고데브지 셴 수수샘을 rab다다마순 당고도 수수샘리야 최게 랍접비게 라마 남기 숭잡다 개개 남기 숭잡 디비게 소수샘들에 비게 rab다다마순 당제 다 소수샘데 컨디지레도 디네 마숭야데 컨디지레도 소수 컨디지 지구도 디 딱제하고 최고도 디 딱제 마제비나 샘나 모네 교태세데 가고 싶으지르샤 샘디 비게 녀모 차단고 왕수 비게 로데비지 인도 베 미정고는 좁게 텐데야 대형과야데 마제야 미정과야데 강아야 텐데야 대형 뷰 타고 싶텐데야 어디 들리냐 용돼야지 다 때려고 니리 잡라지 땅윤도 엔 샘기나로 오늘 교태요야 샘기나로 삼단단디야 야로 자치르치르야 콩두진의 충루야 소소 미지직 랍수는 남산 포줘야죠 포야 대한 용루야 어디 용도 그래서 대윤도 조조된 거라도 삼고도 샘내야 잡다다마순 땅고도 디케시무르샤
So normally I say that it is important to listen to the Dharma, but it's not enough. We also need to think about the Dharma. So what do we mean by thinking about the Dharma is by checking what were the teachings that we received, the meaning of the teachings, and that we need to actually apply to our own mind by checking our own behavior and seeing if it is in accordance or not with the teachings that we have been receiving, and it is in accordance or not with the Dharma. And then day by day we need actually to check our own mind and to apply the teachings to our own mind stream. We need constantly to check our mind and actually like talking to ourselves, saying, okay, this is not correct, I need to do in this way, that type of behavior I need to abandon, and so on. Okay, this is not in accordance with the teachings, that's better to do in that other way. We need to do that to ourselves constantly, day after day, because we are all driven by our mental defilements, such as ignorance, attachment, aversion, and so on. So what we need to think, we don't think. What we don't need to think, we think quite strongly and very spontaneously. So if we do not actually put effort daily in order to change our own behavior, it would not happen. If we do not put effort to change our own way of thinking, it will not happen. So by that, we need to check daily, truly, if our own behavior within our mind stream, is it actually in accordance with the Dharma or not? And by that, we need slowly to shape our mind by checking it and directing our mind day after day. So if we actually follow that correctly, this will gradually have many benefits to us. If we analyze our mind and we direct our mind daily, this will help us gradually to have a more peaceful state of mind, to have less anger, to be a more joyful and meaningful life also.
조조 남배 추어디 다지단에 추어디 다가다시 남배 추어디 말아주 셈 뒤야게 되나라 좀 된대기 근데 주분 지리 시동 전에 송샤바 근데 이 말에 이몽기 녀보 주분 지리 시동 도순 송샤바 다나신다 다자고 너무 좀 된대 잠마이 말 근데 슈레이네 배 큐르닌데 기티네 배다 가서 그래 큐르닌데 망고 좋네 여러분 어다 라만 남부족이 이내야한테는 배 저기다 야 십중 차고 망부 저기다 담배 추기 담배 추 다자도 뭐좀 되게 숨샤버티 아니 제셔도 무슨 견제 아니 지금 남부 민저부터는 제시 견이 간다는 아주 뉴제셈 뒤하기 쳐도 다 숨샤버 이 말에 제가 뒤인도 다 개체수 최치기 인스 드리는 최치기 인스 라비 윤도 셈 가르삼 그르슬람나 거배 칸도인 지gin이 지gin이지 지기요 말에 최 지gin이세는 라비윤도 셈 뒤야는 배주 지gin이세야지 임버지 고도 초그래 라초그래 대 중소는 최 지카도 제베진의 셈딘 뒤야가 쳐도 인성선도 탱그래 디마도 셈 뒤야디시라라 삼루도 지 고다도 마수는 맞으는 아니 최다 셈 뒤야니부디 카가지가 친윤도 아니 망보지기 겨 망보지기 다 가서가네 다선선물린디 나로 지 캐바 인생으로 야 지금 최근 로종 가로 템베 인생으로 감망부여데 야 딘데 욕도 용도 딘데 강에 용한데 조조디 셈 뒤위체를 배주 땅 모두비 디김센터니 용고여 버리면 다데 삼땅으로스.
So the main aspect of our practice of Dharma, it is actually that of subduing one's own mind, of training and directing one's own mind. That's very important. And for that objective, Buddha have taught the Dharma in many different ways. And after Buddha Shakyamuni, also there have been many great masters of knowledge and realization that actually have also taught the Dharma and have taught in different ways also how to subdue one's own mind, how to transform one's own mind in this way. So, in this way, it is very important that whenever we say, okay, we are going to receive teachings of the Dharma, it is not just a matter of learning something that we will recite daily. It's not just a matter of daily recitation of something. When we talk about practicing the Dharma, it's not making a recitation. When we talk about practicing the Dharma, what do we mean by that? When we say, oh, I want to receive some Dharma teachings, I want to enter into the path of Dharma, what do we mean by that? It means that doing something in order to subdue one's own mind, in order to direct and shape one's own mind. That's the main meaning of it. If we connect these two things together, then whenever we have a practice of Dharma, we connect to the fact that we need to transform and subdue our own mind. Otherwise, if we keep the two things separately, then we may have many different faults and problems that come out of that. Like nowadays, maybe there are some people that have great knowledge and important names within the Dharma and so on, but actually is not truly putting into practice the fact of subduing one's own mind in this way. So this is a fault that may happen if we keep these two aspects separately. So because of that, it's very important whenever you go to receive a teaching or whenever do your own practice, you need to remember when we talk about the Dharma, what do we mean? We mean actually subduing and transforming one's own mind. That's the main aspect out of it.
계속 방금 쉬부차도 간다다 나 쉬부 제부슈 뭐지 간다 기나서 뒤균에 대루무지 남버즈리 이 계시 남버즈리 참아로 군두네 다 송주 생겨요 생연도 다때 전다를 되리리 자자디인도 지금 송다 민다고 망보여르데 전다조도 심뒤에 쳐도 송겨요 자자디인도 마 챙에게 가사이네야 지금 심진 대기 비게 셈 두르시야 용하게 쳐도 쪼을 삼다니 송고야 돼야 개치무시라래 에 냥에게 차네야 거지 코 간르시기도 코 가르사바시기도 디사마도 삼마다무젠 조조 랑레야 펜토야 랑기 셈을 따기따기 랑도 셈을 비게 셈규리 자기지 년토비는 에 펜도 용야 이임버리 펜도 용어디 시두버리 최고토네 생에게 토네 두주 졸라요 말이 냥에게 두주 깨버대야 졸라룩 말이 뷰다고 시작을 디 삼땅구리스
So finally it came a little bit many things I'm saying, but also all of you here, you normally receive teachings from other lamas and geshes that are also here. So in all these moments it's important also to remember from the side of those that are teaching, why shall we teach the Dharma to others? In order we need to, those that are teaching the Dharma to others need to adapt also to the mentality, and the main objective of teaching the Dharma is actually that of helping others to subdue their own mind, to transform their own mind positively. That's the main objective of it. So when teaching the Dharma, the main objective is finding the right way how to adapt to those that are listening in order to help them to transform their own mind positively. On the other side, also from those that when we go to listen to the teachings of Dharma, it's also very important the attitude that you have as a disciple listening to the teachings. Not like going to the teaching and checking, let me check this Lama, what he have to say, how capable he is of teaching, or whatever, let's see what something new he have to tell me. It is important instead to go to receive the teachings with the attitude of checking how the teachings and Dharma can actually apply to one's own mind stream, and how can it help to transform one's own behavior and to shape one's own mind and subdue one's own mind. This is very important. If the teachers teach with such attitude and the disciples listen with such attitude, then it is of great benefit for both.
이시야고야 가르스는 아주 찍네 그 템버질 펜토야 찍리 니네 아주 비게 데빈나버즈 추규레 펜토토야 찍리 아주 데빈나버즈 추규세 템버 펜토세야디 아주 망부 여버점기 템버 펜토야 개범도 조조디 민망용을 마데베 간다 예데베드 뷰타고 아니 지금 냠낸 제통에 시주민데 인데바 퇴송고수 야마드베토네 냠낸 칭에 데리주노 하고 소수 게르이네 펜토그리 템버지르이네 샴드주두그리 다가는 신기 비게지 데브나바주 추규리이네 샴드주두메 용그리 아디 개심부르스 자자디인도 땅 안아서 최망부 퇴요래 라마망부 군도는 왕망부 토벼래다 배지배지 장가지는 배왕 야게 유리 오네 망부지 비게들이 섭대요래 치인의 망부시 토벼래 다고 토버는 제제 다 디톱수 제제 샤샤는 딱 들리지고 토마도 기타 고 진업 균르디 요르마도 셴치라시라 개바 메딩이지 다톱 사바디 세븐 펜 토야지 중도 중면도 때네 되니 딱지지시나 되니 고 세븐 주어진 드로비네 해시라 펜도 용시 차로 셔자다디 딘레기 토네게 다 두윤에 셰데 줌즈조디 최 냠바즈마이 냠렌체 구구리스 냠렌체 로치스 제네 게 가와침비네 레구슈아디 줌젠디
So wherever I go, I always incite people in order to practice well the Dharma, and I make such requests and I incite people to practice well the Dharma. Why is the reason why I request everyone to practice well? There are different reasons. One of them is the fact that it is for the benefit of the teachings in general, that you should practice correctly. On the other side is also on the aspect of our own lineage, the lineage of our great masters. In order for our lineage of our great masters to remain steady also and stable, we need to have people. It's not a matter only of how many people we have. It's not a matter of having many people following our lineage. It's important to have the people that follow the lineage really to do it in a correct way, really to practice it deeply, really to do it in a way in which it transforms your own mind, to practice with listening, comprehending and meditating. It is very important to practice correctly and sincerely. And so we don't need a great number of people, we need good quality more than quantity. So in this way. So for that reason, this is only achieved by actual practice, by putting true, sincere effort in one's own practice. If we do that, that is of benefit for the general teachings of Buddha, that's of benefit for our own lineage, and most of all, that's of benefit for your own self. So wherever I go, I always remember that we not only need to listen to the teachings, but most of all you need to practice. Otherwise what may happen is that many of you, sure, you have many empowerments. If we count, maybe you have reached 108 initiations, sure you have reached. Also you have received many commentaries and many teachings. All of that is wonderful. But if you do not truly use that in order to transform your mind and you do not truly put it into practice, then it's just like accumulating and saying, okay, I received this empowerment and this teaching and this commentary and that commentary and so on. But you need to check, okay, this and that empowerment and this and that teaching, how actually does that teachings and empowerments apply to changing your own mind, to transform your own mind positively? This is something that is very important. How have you been using all of this that you have received in order to transform your own mind? That's very important, and just not a simple collection of empowerments and teachings like that. So, I believe this is truly important. That's why wherever I go, I always remember and incite and request everybody, please, to practice sincerely the Dharma in order to transform your own mind.
어디래 이 말이 다 제가 다 나도 비게 다 최비게 제윤도 애는 동안 얘기난 거다 그 냠내 제야요래 다 간다 가르나 비네 개봐요 말을 간다 조디 거지 나그람을 패비네 다데 타보도데 최소데 나게 냠내 나게다 망쳐버린 거 아니냐면 두지는 거요 얘네들 그 디기요래 랑가 다가라 예데버리 디브리 얘네 양고 랑가게 람디 피게 예 두준이 셰기요 그 시덴르브디 그 예주 장습 양답에 따와디 다 개시슈지 디 람기 피게 다 소스네리 시덴디 디지기요래 제자 디 인디 대주 피게 냠렌 제야 이네리 체년 제야 이네리 대주는 매주 슉첨부시 그 초가 다야다 할 피게 다 살게야로 소고 드주리를 비게 미보다 배시라 티체 어코디 비게 야고 용하기 시대행기 eng이 주셔서 양답에 따와라 시라랑 도나마집에 딘데 마집시 그 시대인들이야 개 첨부를 지니 비게 삼당 엔디네 제게 다 살게야로 소고 드주리들에 다제로 소고 드주되는 삼당에 드주래 야 미보시 도시잖아 어코 야고 용돼야지 뷰다 붙여야지 용구리스
So to practice the Dharma, there are two ways of practicing. There is the path of the Sutra, there is the path of the Tantra. Both of them are fine. And especially in this center, there is then a lot of practices which regard the practice of the Tantra. And that's good. But it is very important always to keep the base is very stable. If we do not have a good basis, then we cannot build anything upon it. So it is very important to have the good basis for the practice, which is the basis of renunciation, the definitive emergence of bodhicitta, of the correct view of reality. This is something that is very important. Then upon this strong and solid basis, then it is very good and you can build many things such as making the self-generation as the deities and making whatever other sadhanas and practices and so on. All of this, they become of very great benefit and very stable. But you should never forget to make a very good basis based on the three main aspects of the path of renunciation, bodhicitta, correct view of reality. This is something very important. So not to follow the rest of the practices without first making such basis stable.
어두 짐버리 다트네 다마 두샤나 말아서 데르버 가수구지 최비게 지금 나발타고르지 제고 섬섬기 셈나를 비게 드리지 삼다윤데 바르지 망고도 셈네 바르지 망고 다나 신기 비게 르레 바르지 망고 다 르다 이니부들이야 바르지 망고 질래요 이제 dinregi gen jene yang ko yagu chego samsam gi tujude yang chema to yagi dinregi ta gen da masun dinre chegi yore jas di indu ta dinju ri di ta zozo parje sine rado kanda parje sine zozo de rangi susu bige le dinreji sa ne din jibu di minje tel den yung yor ma do rangi dele yan jawa kyune medebeji sosuriya tobyagoja be miwaji dinre zawani de mare 자스디 인두 다 랑기 사샤버티 에딘 제부미 용기 어르신 셰연두 다 랑기 개왕어마 있는 라도 첸디 체들이 있는 라도 간달 소소 마심베체니 대원기 아니 레지사 레디 제부미 용하지 차기요번 인두 다디 아주 최고 토는 셰연두 다 디베왕기 용기요번 말이 라다 지금 가속으로 머리베 왕기 내 망고지사 아니 텔레테네 딘 주부미 용기어레시 셰윤두 아니 다 디베긴 주부민데 디베긴 나미민데 디데 이마윤두 다 denzu 다구리스 디 다고야다 쇠남 싸고야 디 개치부리스 제네 다 담배 취디 코피게 냠내 제발라 람른 로벌 피게 람딘나 지 탈벌이야 차제 먹고도 창국이어레 차제인데도 창국이어레 제자 디 윤두 말아주 단데 도지센베게 제나 표현을 다 제나 표버서 많이 뒤주냥 아주 다게다 삼은 넘버도 도시세 매냠내 제고야 딕샤 제고야 딕보다야기 미고 제고야 디 개첨부터 딘지가 투고요 임바래 제사 대인도 대수비게 삼다 대수비게 샘 코버체 조조 딕버디 랑기 사샤버지 임바지 켈렌체고리 딕보비게 샤발라 냐네 소수 딕보 사버지 케말렌 딕보샤야 켈링 말이 디고 샤가 제네 고 카즈 측저를 마도 되용어도는 샤그 말이 고 미바 신신 제가 제네 샘디니 샤그 말이 샤고야 매 삼성주지 샘날 레윤디 샤야 용 말이 제자디 윤디 디게 삼로야 오지 단제 다 디버도 소소랑 게 사샤 대왕의 용구도 땅에 대 하고주 단인의 손에 다 된주 지금 매 삼성 지간지 제버디 노버디게 논르디게 양주 지금 매 삼성 주나 다른 디브리 딕샤 다나 딜레 하가 뷰당하지 요야요 말이 저스디 윤두 대주피게 삼당 아다 딘레기 토네 다 대주 개치부 인자 딕샤 개치부 인자 들이 도시세베 전화 표고야디 다 김즈조도 디리 말아주 최징에도 발지 연은 맨나티 슈체주디 랑기 뉴모모 왕기 용구여로 마신베 왕기 레망고 사샤베 텔데니 용구여베 인자 다 텔 도시세벨레 이든 딜레 하가지 요 말이 디바다야 저스디 윤두 다 디긴제나 표아리스
So in the moment that we decide strongly to follow the Dharma, to practice the Dharma, naturally many interferences may arise. Many different forms of interferences may arise on our path of the practice of Dharma. Interferences may arise in one's own mind, interferences arrive in one's own body. So when we get in whatever form of interferences that may manifest, why actually these interferences manifest? Basically because in the past we have created causes to experience such results. Interferences are actually the result of the causes of actions that we have done in the past, that at a certain point they ripen and we experience their actual result. So we cannot experience anything without having created the actual causes in the past before. So anything that we experience is because at some point, or in a previous life, or at this life, at some point of this life, we have created actions, when we have created causes, in order to have such results and in order to have such experiences. This is something that is important of each one of you to have such awareness. So why do we need to purify our negativities, the negative actions that we made in the past? Because as we have created negative actions and we don't want to constantly follow and have such results, we need to purify the negative actions that we have done in the past in order to be able to practice the Dharma well also. And in the same way, we need to rejoice. So as it's said often in the teachings, we need to purify our negativities and we need to accumulate merits. This is two important aspects of our path. So in order for us to fulfill well the path to enlightenment, we need the support of the purification of our own negative karma and the accumulation of merit. So in order to do that, we need also, so one of the ways of how our negative karma manifests is actually that through the interferences that we experience. So for that reason, it's very important to purify our negativities. And from the many different methods of purification, the most excellent yidam or meditational deity of purification is Vajrasattva. So from that, one thing which is very important in order to be able to purify one's own negative karma is first of all to acknowledge our own mistakes, to acknowledge that we have done actions for which now we need to experience the result, and we have done many other negative actions that have been accumulated, that at some point we will need to experience the result of that also. Because if we think that, oh, I have done no mistake at any moment, then there is nothing truly to purify and we do not have the actual attitude of purification. Instead, if we truly recognize that we have done actions which were not correct, and we openly admit our own mistakes, and we create the commitment not to repeat again such mistakes and so on, and based on that we have the intention to purify, then we truly can purify anything. There is no other way, higher way of purification than that. But if we do not acknowledge with ourselves, if we do not openly admit that we have done mistakes ourselves, then we can do whatever sort of visualization and practice and so on, we will not be able to purify anything. So first of all, we need to acknowledge that we have done negative actions in the past, which manifest in the aspects of interferences, of our external and internal interferences, which manifest in the form of suffering and so on. So in order for us to fulfill well our path to enlightenment, we need to purify our negativities in order not to have such interferences.